Do not call back. I am sick of you playing stupid games, and I'm tired of your childish tactics. I do realise I hate you. You've caused me more pain than the death of my father. How can a heart beat in such a corrupted carcass? You are the lowest of the low. You are sick and evil. And knowing you, I want to kill myself in punishment for even knowing you. You are scum. I am so stupid. I don't even know if you are human. I may be a liar, an evil coward. I'm most likely the most horrible person you've ever had the misfortune of knowing. But the one thing I am not is violent. Welcome to Extraordinary Stories Podcast. Hey, how are you? Are you well? Are you good? I am. So, I just have to kick off by saying I am absolutely loving everyone's merchandise pictures. They're brilliant. I love it. Oh, it's so nice to just see like people wearing t-shirts and people with notebooks and mugs. Yeah, great. So thank you for those. If you're sending them to me or you're putting them on the Facebook group, very much appreciated. Do you know, I'm just in love in general with the support that you're giving me and the podcast, and I really do appreciate it. Please don't think that I never see the things that you're saying that are really nice, or you know, the recommendations that you're doing, or the telling of other people about it, or every time someone, you know, includes Extraordinary Stories podcast in a sort of tweet about good podcasts to listen to. I see it and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you for the love. It's very much appreciated. Okay, I'm going to do some quick shout outs. Just 5 shout outs, and then we'll get on with the story. Just to say quickly, if you have asked me for a shout out, it is coming. There's just a bit of a backlog, but I will get there. I will get to yours. Okay, so Thomas Punton. Hello, Thomas. In the Facebook group. Hello. Nice to have you there, Thomas. Thank you very much for your interaction. Best name ever coming, by the way. This is exceptional. Juba Moon. Yes, what a name. Love that. Juba Moon. Great name and wonderful email that you sent me as well. So thank you, Juba. Erin Marr. Hello, Erin. How are you? Hope all is good in Erin's world. Vanessa York, you're a continued joy all the time. You really are on Facebook and on social media. You're wonderful. And Brenda White Brockway. Hello, Brenda. Someone said to me recently, which is quite interesting, quite a lot of your shout-outs tend to be a bit Facebook-focused. It's actually not true. It's really not true, because quite a lot of the ones I do are actually Instagram, and some of them are Twitter. So, I'm sorry if you maybe felt like they were a bit Facebooky, but they're not. But yes, as I always say, if you haven't joined the Facebook group, go and do it. Right, I'm going to just say this quickly, and then I'll get on, because I've realised I'm babbling on. So, slight delay getting this episode out, and I will tell you why. So, there's a story I have been wanting to tell for a long time, and I had planned that as this episode. I was like, right, great, got it, done some research, excellent, got my notes sorted, know how I'm going to do it. And then the weirdest thing happened, where I suddenly unlocked loads more research that I didn't know was there. I suddenly happened upon something that I went, oh my god, this is amazing. So that's going to become a two-parter, and that's what's coming next. So that's why there was a little bit of a delay, because I had worked on that episode to do it, and I was like, this is going to be the one, it's going to go out. And then I went, oh no, I've got loads more information, and if I don't include it, I would be kind of lying to myself, and I would be selling you a bit short on the story. So what I did in that instance was I went back to my trusty notebook, in which I keep a list of little stories that I'm like, yeah, I would really like to tell that one at some point, don't know when. Now, in that book, right, there are stories that are of quite famous cases of true crime. Stories that we will know. Stories that, if you're a true crime podcast listener, you will be very familiar with. And the story I'm going to tell on this episode, it is a story that you will be familiar with. And so I sort of had a bit of a battle with myself back and forth, and I was like, oh, don't know what to do. Should I do that story? Should I not? And then I remembered this, right? I thought back to and this is not me trying to do a promotion for it in any way, but the interview I did with Jeremy Collins on podcasts we listen to. I sort of went off on this like thing where I said, oh, but the thing about extraordinary stories is, I don't tell stories that other people tell. I like to find the little hidden gems, and I like to find all this. And Jeremy actually made a very good point, which was, but I would actually quite like to hear a Baz Henderson version of a story that we know, because I think that would be really interesting. So that kind of made me go, oh, well, actually, do you know what? Should I just go with a true crime story that, yeah, we all know, but actually I still think is really interesting? So anyway, that's a lot of like amble, and I'm not going to lie, I'm actually a wee bit bored of my own voice even saying that stuff. So, this story, yes, it's well known, but I don't think it ever gets old. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Travis Alexander was born in California in 1977. So, Travis, he was born into a loving family, and he was bright. He was like academic. He was really good at English. He was really good at maths. He was really, really strong. He was just all around smart. He was also very athletic. He was great. Some might say he was the all-American guy. But the people who say that, I might punch. So that was Travis. Now, at age 11, Travis moved in with his grandparents. And his grandparents were a part of the Church of the Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints. I mean, what a mouthful. Is there no abbreviation for that? Is there no easier way to have to say that? I mean, come on, something's got to be snappier than that. But anyway, Travis had 7 siblings. Wowzers. Big family. Big, big, big. So he is living with his grandparents. And he grows up living there. He goes through his teenage years, into his adult years, until the time when he moves out and sets up his own life. Now, Travis, he went through a series of different careers. He tried his hand at a few different things. So first he tried being a travelling salesman. I mean, this wasn't really that long ago. Travelling salesmen still exist. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. I thought that was a really old idea. I thought that was like something like a man in a bowler hat rocking up at your house being like, "Hello, madam, would you like to buy a new vacuum?" I thought that was that kind of idea, but, well, no, he worked as a travelling salesman. Then he went from that to being a motivational speaker. Okay, great, lovely. If you can motivate people, do it. Now, he went from that and he went to work for a law firm afterwards. I mean, that's quite the journey for Travis. He's gone travelling vacuum salesman. No, he wasn't a vacuum salesman. I just made that bit up. But he's a travelling salesman. Then he went to motivational speaker. And then he went to a law firm. Okay. Now, the other thing to know is, yes, his grandparents were a part of the Church of the Christ of the Latter-day Saints. He was a very devout Mormon. Very, very connected to his faith. So in 2006, he was at a legal conference, and it was there that he bumped into a young woman named Jody. The young woman that he bumped into, Jody, was a fairly attractive blonde girl. She had been born, raised in California. She was 3 years younger than Travis, so he would have been, if my maths is right, he would have been 29 and she would have been 26 when we met. And yeah, they met and they just literally got on like a house on fire. They just hit it off immediately. And Jody, straight away, she sort of opened up to Travis a bit about the fact that, like, she'd had a really difficult time growing up with her family. She'd explained that her mum and her dad were both a bit abusive towards her, and she really sort of laid that out quite early on with Travis. So that was out there, and yeah, the two of them, they just sort of instantly get on. Friends would say that they were like obsessed almost with each other. They would spend all their time together. Now, between you and me, well, it's not really between you and me because everybody knows this. They would spend a lot of their time locked away in a bedroom. And what were they doing in that bedroom? Well, I'll leave that to your imagination. But anyway, yeah, so, you know, they had this sort of great instant connection. They absolutely just sort of like fell for each other. Now, one problem in their relationship is that Jody wasn't a part of the Mormon faith, and it was something that was so important to Travis. So when they started to date and things were going really well between them, it was kind of always on his mind. Travis was always kind of thinking about the fact that Jody wasn't a part of the same faith. So what he said is, he said he would really need Jody to become a Mormon. It was really important to him that his partner shared his faith. Fine. After 2 months of dating, Jody converts to becoming a Mormon and attending the same church. That same latter day, whatever, the one with the longest title in the world that needs abbreviated. So for Travis, that's great because she's made this, change in her life. And for him, that says she's really serious about me. We're serious about each other because, she's made this change in her religion. Brilliant. However, their relationship is a little bit complicated, and the thing that complicates it at first really is geography. So Jodie lives and works in California, and Travis's work finds him in Arizona. So it's a little bit tricky for them both because they have to keep doing a whole hell of travelling to try and see each other. They're living long distance. I have to be honest with you, I've never done a long distance relationship. And I'm sure that loads of you have, and I'm sure that loads of you do it and actually make it work. I've never done it, so I've not really got any, I've not really got any knowledge that I can bring on that. I suppose really what I've got is questions. Because then I think, well, what do you do about sex? What do you do about sex? I mean, I know you've got YouTube, but I don't mean YouTube. Skype. I mean, I know you've got Skype, but I don't know. Is that what people do, or is it phone sex? I don't know. Maybe I'm focusing on the wrong things. Maybe I'm thinking about the wrong things. Anyway, they had a bit of a difficult time, Travis and Jodie, just because they were, far apart, and they were, like I said, they were really passionately involved with each other, so that was hard because the time together would be brilliant, and as we know, locked away in a bedroom for quite a lot of it. But then the time apart was difficult, was hard for them. But for all the world to see, they were an official couple. They were great, and people would comment what a great couple they made. Very passionate, very driven towards each other. Not everyone felt that way. I know that relationships will always have doubters, but some of Travis's friends were really worried about Jodie. And in fact, they used the word scary to describe her. I mean, no one wants to be described as scary. They used words like scary and possessive. Travis, actually, for being 29, hadn't really dated that many people. And so they felt like maybe he was a little bit inexperienced in the dating world. And that was one thing to contend with, but the other was that his friends, just from the outside, just from the outside looking in, felt very much like Jodie wanted so much more from the relationship. Like, she really obsessed over Travis. And that obsession over him showed itself in things like she would phone him all the time. She kept track of all of his movements. She could tell you where Travis was at any moment, even though they lived miles and miles apart. And his friends just felt, and that, and that's good friends who do that for you. She's a bit much. It's a bit much, basically, is what they think. Yeah, it's a bit much, is what they think. They're like, Travis needs a little bit of breathing space here. Can you give him a bit of that? But Jodie wasn't really for that. And the tricky thing, of course, here, right, and we get this, is Travis is going, yeah, I know she's a little bit much, but she also did convert to a new religion for me. So I can't just be like, hang on a minute, stop phoning my phone every 2 minutes, or stop trying to find out where I am all the time when someone has actually converted their religion because they want to be with you. So, it's a bit tricky. So what Jodie does next is, well, there's two schools of thought on it. There's two different ways to think about it. She moves near Arizona from California, and that is to be near Travis. Now, the one school of thought, people will say, yeah, of course she did, because she was controlling. So she needed to be nearer to him because she needed to know everything that he was doing in his life. Other people will say, no, she actually just wanted to be near him. So, as the story goes on, we can think about that and decide what we will make of that move. I mean, the one thing that people will agree on is that they both absolutely just couldn't get enough of having sex with each other. They just couldn't get enough of sex, basically. So maybe it was that why Jodie moved, so that they would be in closer proximity to do that. Who knows? Now, Jodie has moved closer to where Travis lives, and the relationship continues, but friends will describe it as, and I quote, tumultuous and fiery. Travis and Jodie, they argue a lot. Jodie, I think, was looking for major developments in their relationship. So she wanted to live together. She wanted to get engaged. And Travis was just a bit less keen to make that happen so quickly. He's much more, nah, chill out, babe. It'll happen when it happens. But I don't think Jodie they weren't at the same speed, basically, is what I'm trying to say. They weren't at the same speed in terms of what they wanted out of their relationship. So Travis's friends will at this point say she went from being sort of what they described earlier on as scary to now worrying. They were actually concerned that they thought her behaviour was beginning to spiral into something that was, very, very worrying. She tracked Travis wherever he went. She knew all of his movements, who he spoke to, what meetings he had each day, what friends he was seeing. And she did it because she put a tracker on his car so that she could check wherever he was going. Jodie had also, Travis didn't know this, nobody knew this, but she had also worked out the logins to all of his emails and his social media so that she could monitor all of his interactions. Creepy as fuck. That's just scary. That is scary. Oh God, I wouldn't want anyone monitoring my social. Not that I've got anything to hide, but you're that's just fucking weird. Anyway, Travis found out about that, and all it did was it just caused arguments. He was like, no, I'm not having you, going through my Facebook, going through my Twitter, going through all of that stuff, and putting a tracker in my car. No thanks. So they just have the most explosive, massive argument. And the result of it is that Jodie moves back to California. And they go back to trying their long distance relationship. So they think, okay, right, so we'll just try this again, just to see if we can make this work. It doesn't. It doesn't work. They give it a really good go. I mean, they really do. They try, they do lots of things. They try meeting halfway in the middle. One goes to visit one weekend, one comes to the other. But you know what? It just doesn't work for them. And eventually they get to a point. 2007, they've been doing this for a year on and off, and they go, do you know what? It's just not working. It's just not going to be the thing for us. And that's it. It's game over. It's game over. However, when they do meet, what is that sex life like? Well, it's still hot, it's still fiery, and I suppose the question really has to be, is that actually really what was driving them attempting to stay together? Is the fact that they actually liked each other sexually a lot. I mean, it's good sex is great, but it's a lot of, they've been through a year of living distanced and trying it and it's not working. So, maybe that is the thing that's keeping them trying it, but try as they might, it's not going to work. So they agree it's finished. They agree, right, that's it. We've done our best, it's over. Let's talk now about what happens next to Jodie's behaviour. The word stalking gets used quite a lot. As well as being able to get into his social media things, she breaks into all of his emails, and from miles away, from a whole other state, she's keeping a very, very close eye on Travis. She knows all of his moves. She knows where he's going, who he's talking to. She's watching the whole thing from a distance. Now, this is what's, I suppose, actually more irritating than anything else in this story, is that they've broken up, but they're actually still seeing each other during the time when they've broken up, because they're still having sex. There's some kind of deep attraction between the two of these, but I mean, it's the most toxic relationship, because really, yes, their sex life might be brilliant, but then they just end up in arguments, and Travis knows he's being tracked. He knows he's being watched, and all that happens is arguments break out about it, but yet they keep meeting up for more and more sex. So it's messy. It's very messy. Very, very messy. It's complicated, and yeah. When they are not together, when they're not in the same place, they have a lot of phone sex, which will become important later in the story. So that's all going on, right? That's all happening, but here's the thing. Travis was actually in a place where he wanted to move on. He actually wanted to move on from Jodie. And what he does is he gets a new girlfriend, and she's called Lisa. Knowing what we know about Jodie so far, how do you think Jodie responds to the fact that Travis gets a new girlfriend? Does she go, "Oh, that's fine, Travis. On you go. Just you move on"? Oh hell, and no, she does not. She goes into an absolute rage. What Jodie does next, I mean, it's just so out of control, and it's just at this point in the story you just wish to God someone could have stepped in and done something, but she's spiralling out of control at this point. She makes Travis's life an absolute misery, and she makes Travis's new girlfriend Lisa, she makes her life an absolute misery. She harasses the girlfriend with emails, like vile, horrible emails to her. This poor girl's not done anything. She's just literally started going out with a guy, and here's his absolutely out of control ex-girlfriend getting in touch, writing things like this. "You are a shameful whore. Your heavenly Father must be deeply ashamed of your whoredom that you have committed with that insidious man. If you let him stay in your bed one more time, or even sleep under the same roof as him, you will be giving the appearance of evil. Alright, Jodie, chill out. Calm down. She continues, you are driving away the Holy Ghost and you are wasting your time. You are also compromising your salvation and breaking your baptismal covenants. Jodie, babe, you're losing me with this email. Could you keep it snappier? Because I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know what you're trying to say. Well, I do. But then she ends. Think about your future husband and how you disrespect not only yourself but him, as well as the Lord and the Saviour, Jesus Christ. Is that what you want for yourself? You are a daughter of God, and you have been a shameful example. I mean, imagine getting that in your inbox on a Monday morning. You'd be like, for fuck's sake, what is this? Be like, I thought I was going to get an email that said like, IT services are shutting down the computers between 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock because we've got some essential maintenance to do. And you open that, fucking hell. That poor new girlfriend of Travis must have just been like, I'm sorry. I appear to be receiving emails which tell me I am a shameful, horrible person and I don't really know what I've done. Yeah, not good. Not good. Then, this starts happening. Travis's tyres on his car begin to get slashed. Now, when I say begin to get slashed, what I mean is, they get slashed once. And Travis is like, some dickhead has slashed my tyres. He gets them replaced. Next day, slashed again. So he's like, okay. Same dickhead has come back and done this. Fine. Gets them replaced again. Slashed again. And then he's like, there's a pattern that's happening here. Yeah, the pattern is Jodie. The pattern is that Jodie from another state, right? From another state was paying somebody to go and repeatedly slash his tyres. Oh, Jodie, what are you doing? Travis, under this sort of terror campaign that she's, doing at the moment with the tyre slashing, the horrible emails, and she's sending him vile, vicious text messages. He contacts Jodie and he's like, this needs to stop. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, what is this? Her response to that is she then starts to threaten suicide. So then he feels like, oh God, right, okay, you're suicidal. Shit, I need to tread carefully within this. And you just get into this really difficult, muddy kind of period where he feels terrible because she just threatens to commit suicide every time he phones. But also, his new girlfriend is getting horrendous emails. He's being tracked and his tyres are being slashed every day. So he's like, I don't know what to do about this. Again, this is one of the most frustrating things about this story. Somebody needed to go to some sort of mental health professional or the police or somebody at this stage, and nobody did. That's what drives me insane about this story. Nobody actually did. They just went, Jodie is a bit intense. She's a bit much. She does things like get somebody to go and slash her tyres, hacks your emails, and then sends really vicious, horrible messages. Well, it's not okay to just go, oh, that's just what she's like. That's just what she does. Somebody needed to step up and go, nah, I think we need a professional here. I think we need a professional in the situation. Unfortunately, nobody did that. Now, just to make it even muddier and even more confusing, during all of this madness, right, during tyre slashing, during emails, during Jodie's out of control behaviour, Travis and Jodie still occasionally meet to have sex. So they occasionally meet in a hotel room. They occasionally meet somewhere that they can go and have sex, and his friends are saying to him, literally, stop thinking with your dick. Stop it, because you know she's nuts. I mean, his poor friends are like, you're the one that's telling us all the time how her behaviour is driving you insane, but you're still willing to go meet her in a hotel room and have sex with her. So pick one or the other. Like, you can't keep muddying the waters here between these two things. But Travis, unfortunately, is still wanting to have a bit of sexy time with Jodie, so he keeps making that happen. Then eventually, he comes to his senses after a while, and he says to Jodie, right, enough. Enough. We have to stop. This just has to be the end of it. That's it, done. It's over. Jodie took it really well before when they, separated. So, do we think she's going to take this bit really well? No, I don't think so. I'm going to read you now some of the messages that the two of them sent to each other during the time when Travis had said, right, that's it now. That's finally it. Enough is enough. Jodie Arias writes, there have been times I screamed so loud into the phone. I could only scream into the air, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And I would sob until I couldn't breathe. But I have done you wrong. She continues, I get so caught up in wanting to do the right thing when you come around. But when you come around, I want to do a different version of the right thing. We shouldn't be discussing this. Travis writes back, the sexual part of me was an unevolved way of trying to be more loved. I knew you weren't in love with me. You're not in love with me. I knew you cared, but it wasn't that kind of love. It was intoxicating. You made it so good. But you weren't just a piece of meat. I felt so loved. I wouldn't have been content just cuddling you, but I wasn't strong enough to stop there. Again, I'm sorry for that. Then it changes tone. Travis says to Jodie, you're a sociopath, and I know this so well now. He says, I don't want an apology. I want you to understand what I think of you. I want you to understand how evil I think you are. You are the worst thing that ever happened to me. He then says, I was just a dick to you. That's all I ever was. I was just a dick for you to have. He says, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. He says, I was a dildo with a heartbeat. I mean, I think that's a lovely sentiment. I think that is really, really nice. A dildo with a heartbeat. How lovely. I think people should start thinking about maybe putting that in their wedding vows or something, because I think it's really nice. Make a really catchy song, wouldn't it? Just a dildo with the heartbeat. I can think Katy Perry could sing that or something, but yeah. So things are not good between the two of them. And it's sort of interesting, I think, because I reckon they both think that they've been played for just sex, but yet it's what seems to bring them together all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think from reading a lot of what he's saying, I'm like, oh, you think she was just using you for sex. She also thinks the same. So there's this like weird, something's not quite communicating between the two of them. But anyway, they are separated. They're done. It's over. The relationship is finished. But what harm can, one more night do? Even though you've sent those messages, this is what baffles me about this story. This is where I find it so strange. And I've spent time on this earth and I've got to know human behaviour, and I've, through these stories, understood a lot of human behaviour. What I don't really get is, why are they sending messages to each other that basically say, you're the most evil fucking person I've ever met in my whole entire life, and then having sex again, meeting to have sex one more time. It baffles me. Now I know relationships are complicated, they're very, very difficult, but it sounds to me as if these two at this point had got to a point where they just despised each other. I mean, she was controlling everything. Not controlling, but she was tracking everything in his life. He was so sick of her, he just wanted to be away. But yet, there's that, should we just have one more night together in a bedroom thing that's creeping around them, and that's what they ultimately decide to do. Jodie heads to Travis's house for one final night. So, Travis he's set to go on a trip at work on the next few days. So in a couple of days' time, him and two of his colleagues, they are flying to a conference, and the tickets are all booked, everything's organised, and the colleagues notice that on the tickets, one name is Travis and the other name is Jodie. And they think, well, hang on a minute. Hang on one goddamn bloody minute. Haven't they split up? Isn't that all finished? Oh yeah, but the tickets had been booked when they were still together. So, Travis had asked for the name to be changed to his new girlfriend Lisa, but that hadn't quite happened yet. So immediately the colleagues are like, that doesn't look, that's weird. Like, why is her name on it? Anyway, it's just obviously not been up. So, Monday morning comes around. So, Jodie's gone to Travis's house and they're having their one final, supposedly, night of passion. And on the Monday morning, there's a conference call in work. I mean, conference calls, oh my god, they are my idea of hell. I fucking hate anything like that. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with this sort of thing of there's three people on a screen and then you're talking and someone's face is really small and someone's face is really big and everyone looks weird and then you're getting this weird audio. But anyway, that's just maybe my issue. But anyway, so there's a conference call. Travis is meant to be in the conference call. The call starts and he's not there. And his work colleagues think, where is he? I wonder where Travis is. Now, they don't try phoning him straight away, right? This is a bit silly. They just jump to the assumption, do you know what? He's probably had a really heavy weekend. He's probably been drinking. He's probably had, he's been a bit excessive and he'll just have slept in for the meeting. So they excuse it just down to that. I mean, I'm just going to say, if someone doesn't show up for work, have these people never heard a fucking true crime podcast? Do something, right? Someone doesn't turn up for work, go to their house. Go to their house and check, because their dead body's going to be lying there. I'm just saying that. Anyway, a few days pass. Oh my god. A few days and they can't reach Travis. So this is what they do. They now decide to go to his apartment because he hasn't shown up for the call and he hasn't shown up for work. When the colleagues enter the house, they discover a horrific sight. Travis Alexander's dead body lies in the shower naked. His injuries include a gunshot wound to the head, 28 stab marks in his back, and his throat has been slit from ear to ear. Oh my God. Imagine finding that. Horrific. So his friends, what did they do? Well, obviously, they immediately call police. Police arrive, they look at the scene. The colleagues explain, we came in, this is what we found. We've not been able to contact him for a couple of days. And they say this immediately to police, and I'm quoting them directly. They say, "We don't want this to be true, but we know only one person who could do this, and that is his ex-girlfriend, Jodie." I love the police response to this. Again, do these police not know anything? Police say, well, not being sexist about it or anything, it's a pretty brutal death. He's been stabbed 28 times in the back. He's been shot in the head. I don't think a woman could have done this. What? The fuck are you talking about? The fuck? And the friends are like, well, yeah, but okay, that's one opinion. But we are going to say, Jodie is something else as a human being. Like, she's not your average person, right? So it's very possible. And police go, nah. You see, the thing is, he's really athletic. He's really big. So if a woman had tried to do this, there's just no way that she would have been able to manage it. Oh, I mean, come on. This wasn't even like, that opinion's never acceptable, but it's not even like, this was like 1910 when people didn't think that women were murderers or could do this kind of thing. This wasn't really that long ago. So it's like, come on. But again, what the friends, the colleagues try and say is, yeah, you just don't know the rage that's inside of her. And if you did, you would be believing that she could put 23 stab marks in his back and slit his throat and shoot him with a gun. So police, out of sort of duty, I guess, go and they have a chat with Jodie. And, she's, recent to his sort of life. So they go, right, okay, they interview her. And of course, she does devastated and she's crying. And she says, I was in another town. I wasn't even here. I've got a new boyfriend and I was with him in a whole other town, so I wasn't even anywhere near the crime. But as police start to sort of look at it a bit more, they start to get a little bit more information about her previous behaviour, about the stalking behaviour, about the checking on his emails, and about the slashing of the tyres. So obviously, a forensics team move in and they start doing what they can around the flat, and they're looking and they're trying to see what they can find. But all that they can really do at this moment is they can only really keep Jodie on the radar because there's nothing to really go on. There's just some people going, yeah, she's pretty intense and might be very unstable, but there's no real evidence for police to go on. So they search his apartment. Can they find the murder weapon anywhere? No. There's no sign of the gun that shot him in the head. There's no sign of the knife that stabbed him in the back and then slit him ear to ear. That just doesn't exist. And they're looking, and then, this is the weirdest bit. They look in the washing machine, and they find in the washing machine a digital camera. I mean, it's a great place to keep your cameras, a washing machine. But yeah, so they find a digital camera. Now, it's been washed, it's been through a full cycle, and the camera is pretty damaged. It's pretty beaten up. But when police take it out, the memory card isn't damaged. I mean, these things are robust. These things are built to last. So the memory card inside of the camera, police have. They check the memory card, and this is what they find. They find photos of Jodie and Travis having sex. Really explicit photos of Travis naked in a variety of poses. Jodie naked in a variety of poses. And photos of their sexual encounter, bits of bodies meeting each other. All this has been documented on the camera. They keep scrolling through the photos, and beyond the sex, they find photographs of Travis's dead body in the shower. So police are like, well, this is the smoking gun. We've got it. Because whoever took these pictures and was in possession of this camera, assuming, of course, it was Jodie, also then documented the dead body and then tried to wash the camera in a washing machine. I mean, this has to indicate that she's the killer. It has to. Of course it has. The results come back from the DNA work that was done in the days after he died, and there was a handprint on the inside of the shower, a bloody handprint, and they can match it to Jodie. It's a complete match to her DNA. So, if we remember, turning back to a minute ago, Jodie said, I was out of town. Oh, I wasn't here. I was at my ex-boyfriend's, right? We'll call that story one, right? So she says in story one, oh, I wasn't here. I was elsewhere. I was at my boyfriend's. So they come back, they've got the pictures. They've got the pictures of Travis's dead body. They've got a bloody handprint. And they say, right, so we're not really believing the story that you were elsewhere. And she says, okay, I'll actually tell you the truth. She will say, burglars actually broke in to the house the night that I was there, and they actually tried to attack me and Travis, and he attempted to save us both, but he actually ended up being stabbed, and one of them had a gun and they shot him. And police say, right, okay, so you're saying burglars broke in, they attacked you both, they shot, stabbed, and slit his throat, then photographed it, and you didn't come to police about that at all? No, you didn't tell anyone that had happened. And she says, no, I was so scared that they would come after me, that they would try and find me. Oh, fuck off. Shut up. Talking nonsense. So, the next thing that police discover as they go on their search into Jodie is they discover that she had, the day after Travis's murder, hired a car. She had driven miles in that hire car to her new boyfriend's house, and when she arrived, he was like, oh, here's my girlfriend, Jodie, with the blonde hair. Oh, hang on a minute. She's now got brown hair. She'd dyed her hair overnight. So this is really weird. So she'd hired a car. They were able to track that. Able to track the mileage. And then on footage from different garages, petrol stations, they picked up her going in, buying some box dye, a brown colour, dyeing her hair in like a petrol station bathroom, and then driving to her new boyfriend's house. So when they got the exact car back, the exact car that she had used for that journey, the one where she dyed her hair, they combed it for any sign of evidence and they found traces of Travis's blood. Well, with all of that mounting against Jodi Arias, she was arrested for the murder of Travis Alexander. Jodi was charged with murder and the prosecution wanted the death penalty. They wanted Jodi sent to the electric chair. Now this was big shock. This was big news. The name Jodi Arias became absolutely massive. You know, it's the femme fatale thing. It's the Mormon part of it, you know, that makes the story, for want of a better word, sexy for the media. You know, that makes it like really interesting. So the case very quickly gathered a lot of attention, a lot of massive press attention, and it was aired live on TV. Now the trial is just a circus. It's an absolute circus. She takes the witness stand for 17 days, and oh my god, she just keeps continually changing her story. She can't stick to the one bloody story. What's awkward, and you can find these, you can find them on YouTube, although I'll tell you, they're not the nicest viewing in the world, is a lot of, do you remember I said earlier on, her and Travis did a lot of phone sex? Those conversations get played in court while she's on the witness stand, and you can watch Jodi Arias sit there as these tapes get played, and they're not always the nicest. In fact, there's a couple of them that I was just like, no, I need to turn that off, because actually I'm not even listening to that. There's one where Travis, it all goes disastrously wrong. He starts talking about like 12-year-old girls. Oh, it's not nice. No, not nice at all. I just didn't like it, and I was like, no, can't watch this. But anyway, it's there should you want to see that. Now, what's interesting here is she doesn't deny the killing, right? I think she's realised now, I'm in a real place where I'm not going to get away with this, but I have to find my best way through it or out of it. She starts to change the story once more. She starts saying it was actually self-defence. Travis was an abuser and he abused me regularly. She tries to spin some sort of story where she says, oh, we were having sex, we were taking pictures, I dropped the camera, at which point he attacked me and I had to retaliate. I mean, the obvious question would be, so you just had a gun and a knife hanging about in your bag, did you? Just for that moment, yeah? Then things like her defence try and bring out PTSD. That comes into play. They say, oh, she was abused by her family when she was young. So, you know, she's really very fragile. And that's why this happened. But she almost, this is where they fuck this up, is they try and play too many cards with Jodi Arias. They try and keep changing what the defence strategy is. You know, 1 minute she's a victim, 1 minute she's something, and it just gets messy. So none of it seems truthful at any point whatsoever. She then starts going into this, I've been lying the whole time because I wanted to protect Travis's reputation. He's a good Mormon and I don't want his family to know that he's actually an abuser. Don't really think anybody was believing that he was. She's clutching at straws by now, fuck's sake. She's like, I've actually got memory loss from shock of the event and I'm not sure I can tell you all the details of the event because I was so in shock. And then she starts to play the, I'm so ashamed, I'm so embarrassed by being involved in this sex thing. I never wanted to be involved in his dirty sex games. the tapes tell a very, very different story. A very, very different story. I refer you to I was just a dildo with a heartbeat comment from earlier on. Jodie, if she thinks that she can convince a courtroom that she was not up for the sex, is a liar. Because when you listen to what's on those tapes, that's just not the truth. It's just not the truth. So all of the crazy behaviour, all of the, the stalking, the tyre slashing, the suicide threats, the checking on emails, all that sort of stuff, it just all gets played out in court. Now, Travis has a few ex-girlfriends who all come in to defend him. And they say there is no way that he was a violent or a threatening guy. It's just not, like, everything she's saying about him being violent or threatening just isn't true. Because we never experienced that. And I think it's like 4 of them. I think 4 ex-girlfriends come in and they all go, nope, he was a great guy. He didn't pressure you, didn't, make you feel abused, didn't do any of that. So, what are the jury going to decide when the trial finally comes to a close? After all, we've not got Travis to defend himself. Maybe they believe some of Jodie's claims she was abused and that she killed in self-defence. So the jury return with a verdict, and it's good. Jodi Arias is found guilty of premeditated first-degree murder. The complication is that they can't agree if she should get the death penalty. So there's a bit of an issue here because the jury are like, yep, she's guilty. She planned it. The jury will say that they fully believe what the prosecution have to say, which is, on the day that the murder happened, Jodi Arias put a gun in her bag, she put a knife in her bag, she went to that house, they had sex, and when he was in the shower after sex, she brutally murdered him. So they will agree, right, that that's what they think has happened, but yet they won't send her to the electric chair. So the judge declares a mistrial. Ugh. And this has been honestly such a circus. This has been huge. So for the judge to go, oh, it's a mistrial, it just complicates everything. Kind of want to just take that judge aside and be like, mate, are you mad? Like, what are you doing? Like, come on. Like, you can't have put everybody through this and then gone, no, mistrial, because they can't quite decide whether or not. I mean, obviously it's a massive decision whether you send someone to an electric chair or not. But at the same time, I think if you found her guilty of it, but then, no, I suppose, no, hang on, I'm talking nonsense. You're back into a big moral thing. Does she deserve the electric chair? No, okay, becomes a big moral issue. Right, fine, okay. So, anyway, long and short of it, a new trial has to begin. And a new jury have to come in. And this time, the case, because I think her defence team thought they were maybe onto something with the Travis was an abuser situation, they really push it this time. Oh my god, they push it hard. They push so hard on the, he was abusing her, he was a terrible boyfriend, he made her do all those sex things, blah 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 blah, whatever. When it comes down to it, a second jury also find her guilty. But guess what? They have the same issue as the first jury. They can't decide whether she should be sentenced to death. So we're back in the same situation. Eventually, a judge steps in and goes, do you know what? This is going to keep happening. Juries are going to constantly find her guilty because she is guilty, but they're never going to reach the decision about whether or not to send her to the electric chair. I'm going to make the decision. Now, in her sentencing hearing, Jodie decides she is going to represent herself. I just always think it's weird when criminals are like, do you know what? I think I'll just represent myself. I mean, who do you think you are, Ted Bundy? Chill out. What are you doing? Like, I just think it's weird to just be like, yes, I'm gonna. And the judge was not really into it at first. He was like, nah, no, you're gonna need like an advisory committee. You're gonna need a whole load of support and a legal team around you, because we're now at the point, right? This is what's, well, some might say brave, some might say idiotic. She decides to take over, representing herself at the point where the decision is being made. Does she go to the electric chair or does she go to prison? So, I mean, it's quite a moment to decide that you're going to step up to the plate and suddenly put on your lawyer's wig and be like, suddenly I'm a lawyer. Well, you're not, are you? No, you're not. So do you want to just maybe calm down? So the judge steps in and goes, look, I don't really think it's a great decision, but Jodie is like, no, I'm going to represent myself. So the judge, who is sentencing, he gives Jodi Arias life in prison without the chance of parole. And everyone breathes a massive sigh of relief. Jodi Arias is in prison in Arizona, and she will never be free. In prison, she has taken to getting herself lots and lots of tattoos. From people who've come out of that prison and spent time with her, they say that her behaviour is mainly flirty. She likes to flirt with guards. Any male member of staff, she's looking for attention. Lots of people who've come out of that Arizona prison, it's, even though we're years on from Jodi Arias, say they've been in there for like, I don't know, a lesser crime. Say they've been in there for drink driving or I don't know, something, right? They've been in there. When they come out, the first thing someone will do is put a microphone in the face and go, do you know Jodi Arias? Have you met Jodie? Because people are still obsessed with who she is. What's really interesting is, I read, as part of my research, there's a really interesting article in Rolling Stone, which basically the headline of it is 5 people who we have put in prison who were wrongfully put there, and Jodi Arias is number 1. Rolling Stone have this incredibly compelling argument that says she actually isn't guilty of this crime, which is, it's so interesting because it's so stark compared to everything else that you ever see, hear, read or watch, which is basically just, she did it. She actually did it, and there's no two ways about it. There's no talking around it. You can do whatever you like. There's no talking around it. She is guilty. And it's just this one article really jumped out at me. Read it for yourself. I would say once you finish this story, go and read it. I'm not going to go into it now because it gets into technicalities and it sort of goes against a lot of the story that I've told you. And the story that I've told you has come from about 25 different sources, which all have the same facts. You know, they all have the same entire things. So yeah, it's just interesting. Just go and look at that article. Anyway, I'll end by going back to the people who come out of prison, who might have shared a bit of time with Jodi Arias. Her actual roommate, it's a prison, Barry, calm down. Her cellmate for 3 years came out of prison and was asked, so what can you say about Jodi Arias? And she says this: she's a sociopath. She is absolutely crazy. And so ends the story. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I know that thousands of you are going to know the Jodi Arias story, but I do still think it's a really interesting one. I do. I just find it. Yeah. I just think it's that. It's that human behaviour thing of just being so possessive of someone and so controlling of someone's life and just really needing to control someone. And yeah, I just think it's fascinating. She's fascinating as well, and if you go onto YouTube, whatever, you'll find all of the footage of the trial, you'll find documentaries, and the whole lot. Anyway, right, I'm going to get out of here. I'm just going to say, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? I'm going to say if you... How many more times can I say what am I going to say? I'm going to say if you... oh my god, I just did it again. If you want to get in touch with me, you can. You know where to do it. I'm on all the socials. Join the Facebook group. Give me a wee follow on Twitter. Instagram. I'm there. The merchandise is out. You can find it on Threadless. So yeah, it's really nice to see your pictures of you wearing the merchandise, having the merchandise. That's really good. Yes, and so until this two-parter, which is coming, and is coming very, very, very soon, once I've just got the sort of second part of it nailed down, which will be very soon. So until then, I'm doing the babble again, and I'm, just gonna get out of here before the babble runs out of control. Okay, goodbye.
It didn't affect me really one way or the other. I would imagine from the look on his face, let's get it on, let's do it, let's get it over.
Right track, baby, I was born this way. Born this way, hey, I was born this way. On the right track, baby, I was born this way.
Let's get it on, let's do it, let's get it over.